Hello and welcome to round number 7 of Season 2 of the iRacing Renault Clio League. We're riding on board Matt Malone though. We're going to do a lap of the Monza Junior layout here and see how he goes. It is slightly wet out on the circuit. Moves across the right hand side. You've got puddles there in the middle and on the apex. Keep it just away from the apex so you're not running through the puddle. Move to the left. Again, you can see the water on the racing line. It's unsettling Matt Malone. He runs slightly wide as we go back on to the GP circuit here at Monza and head up towards the Parabolica, the final turn of the Grand Prix layout and of the Junior layout. Very short, quick circuit. It's almost essentially an oval, this circuit that we're running, just with a little bit of a chicane in there. We're going to see a lot of slipstream. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of dive bombs up towards turn 1 and very possibly into the Parabolica. Matt Malone, though, up towards the timing line right now. We're going to see who is the first to cross the line. It looks like it might be Gwilym who's the first across the line. We've got Milan Vukovic ahead of Gibrat, then it'll be Gwilym behind, and behind him is Van der Herk. Then it's going to be In Lane and Matty Quidland. I've hit the wrong button and we're not going to be able to see the rest. Then it's going to be Richard Dempsey and Bradbury, followed by the D2 drivers. We've got Jared Swain ahead of Zach Gould, Joshua Lloyd and Edward Ayala. We head up towards turn number 1. We're green, we are away. As the water is certainly still there, how is Jared Swain going to fare on a dry set of tyres? But it's Vukovic leading the way ahead of Gibrat and Gwilym into turn number 1. Through the left hand and up back to join on to the Grand Prix loop. Well, can these drivers see? That's the question. I'm sure we're going to ride on board shortly so we can find out just what it's like on board. But here comes Van der Herk up the inside of Gibrat. And he gets the inside line and he makes it stick just. He runs slightly wider, but he makes it stick. Gibrat is going to push back through, I'm sure, up towards turn number 1. Not too bad with the spray. As we ride on board Gibrat, he moves to the left-hand side. He wants to get this position back all the way towards the wall. Careful because of the puddles. But he is going through the inside of Philip Van der Herk. Can Gibrat hold the inside of Van der Herk into turn number 1? It looks like he backed out just a little bit earlier. Van der Herk on a slightly wider line. Contact with Matt Gwilym. Gwilym onto the grass. Luckily, it's a slow part of the circuit. Overtaking opportunity here. Bradbury around the outside. And Dempsey, no, because here comes Quidland back out. And it's 3 wide. And around they go. Dempsey's into the wall. Quidland, Bradbury, both into the wall. That's going to give Zach Gould the overall position. He is leading the D2 field. He moves to the right-hand side, all the way over to the wall yet again, giving loads of room. Van der Herk going to the inside, Gibrat looking to the outside, but here comes Ian Lane up the inside of Matt Gwilym. Gibrat goes up the inside of Van der Herk as well. Van der Herk slightly wide. Lane's got that position. Gibrat's got the position as well. Gibrat up to second once more. Van der Herk backed out to third, but could do it on the exit here. He swaps over to the inside. He is going to get the inside line, heading up to the Parabolica. As they are side by side, Van der Herk just putting a toe ahead. And he is later on the brakes. Earlier from Gibrat here, is he going for the exit? He does that tighter line, which does seem to be working really well in the Renault Clios. You can see Vukovic has got a substantial lead here. This is the fight for second in class, second overall. A lot of spray as Lane and Gwilym run over the puddle. Van der Herk goes defensive up the inside. It's Gibrat on the outside. Lane on the inside of Gwilym. And once again, Gibrat looks the inside of Van der Herk. Van der Herk gets it this time though. Good speed on the exit. He's going to have a little bit more speed here. He's going to have to go to the outside because Gibrat holds the inside here. That inside tighter line has run stronger, but we've not really seen side-by-side action into this corner yet. Who is going to come out on top? Lane has to push it wider. It is the wider line, so it's the longer line. Gibrat's got it. Is Lane going to be able to find any additional speed on the exit by running that wider line, though? Or is Matt Gwilym going to get involved? There is the white flag. This is the last lap, and the answer is Matt Gwilym is going to get involved here. Gwilym can get to the inside of Ian Lane here for 4th position. Jabrat goes defensive, and Lane goes straight on. As Van der Herk and Jabrat go into the wall, it's white flag lap. That's not the end of the race. What's going on? Richard Dempsey moves into 3rd. What just happened? What just happened? Richard Dempsey is in 3rd. Cedric Jabrat in 4th. Matt Gwilym in 5th. Ian Lane in 8th. Look at that damage on Jabrat's car. But Vukovic is going to win. What happened? Milan Vukovic wins Heat Race 1 here at Monza. Vukovic was your winner ahead of Philip Van der Herk. Richard Dempsey took 3rd somehow ahead of Matt Gwilym, Matty Quidlan, Zach Gould, Ian Lane, Conrad Bradbury, Cedric Jabrat, Edward Ayala, Jared Swaim and Joshua Lloyd. Riley Downey is going to start this one on pole position. The D1 and D2 drivers much more mixed than they were. Well, they weren't mixed in Heat Race 1. They're mixed here in Heat Race 2. So it's going to be Downey ahead of Codd. Then it's Edgar ahead of Fox, Vox and Hagland. Then it's going to be Luis Henriquez, Jurgen Nagel, Risto Westman and Matt Malone running out the top 10. And then it is going to be O'Neill Trotter and Eric Jägel at the back of the field. And hopefully no last lap shenanigans. We are away. A slow start from Eric Jägel at the very back. He's then disappeared off of my timing screen, and I think we may have lost Eric Jägel from the race. It was Neil Trotter who actually got slow. No start from Eric Jägel, it seems, but a nice start from Riley Downey out front. He is leading the overall race, and he is fighting, of course, for the D2 championship right now. Mark Codd leads the D1 field ahead of Harry Fox. It's then a mix of D2 drivers. It's Hagland, Edgar and Nagel. They're fighting it out for the podium in division number 2. And at the back of this train, this is the mix of D1 drivers. We've got Neil Rocks. We've got battling with Malone, Henriquez, Westman. This is Rocks. He's side by side with Nagel. Nagel goes wide through the parabolic. He's going to cut back on. He's going to stay just out of the way though, so Henriquez and Matt Malone can get through. It's side by side now from Luis Henriquez and Matt Malone as they come across to the timing line for the first time to complete lap number 1. 11 cars in this race as we go on. Matt Malone has held on to 4th in class out of Luis Henriquez. Are we going to see the drivers stop for turn 1? No, Matt Malone, too much speed into turn 1 and he goes off. And keeping an eye on the gap between Neil Rocks and Luis Henriquez as well, as that's a big swerve from Mark Codd. What is Codd doing? He's weaving side to side to side. I think that could possibly just be to say, I'm not going to go past you. Or is that possibly to try and psych Downey out? Of them overall, he has no reason to... Oh, got a little bit of a slide there from Neil Rocks. And here comes Luis Henriquez. He moves to the inside as Mark Codd looks to the inside of the overall race lead. Mark Codd takes the overall race lead. We will continue watching this because it is for a class position. Henriquez moves into 3rd in class past Neil Rocks. Riley Downey fighting back at it up at the front though. They continue side by side. With just over 1.5 minutes, this is 2 laps to go. Mark Codd has the inside line into turn number 1. And he gets the position. I didn't see him get that penalty before he entered pit lane, but he's gone down pit lane. It is a penalty. Harry Fox, for some reason, he dived down pit lane before that penalty came out. So I don't know why he's gone down pit lane. I think that penalty is possibly through speeding, not through an incident. Not sure why Harry Fox gone down, but it has promoted Matt Malone to 9th overall and 5th in class. Is Riley Downey gonna make the move for the overall race win here in heat race number 1. There's a little bit of a nudge. There's contact. There's contact. They're two different classes, but they are fighting for the overall win. But it is going to be Mark Codd who wins heat race 2 here at round 8. Riley Downey wins Division 2, and it is Richard Edgar the next across the line. It is Mark Codd winning that one ahead of Riley Downey. Richard Edgar in third, ahead of Neil Rocks and Lewis Henriquez. Anders Hagland came behind, followed by Risto Westman, Neil Trotter, Matt Malone and Jürgen Nagel. And at the back of the field, Harry Fox went down pit lane for some reason, getting a penalty. And Eric Jägel, who started the race 2 laps behind after coming out of pit lane late. It's going to be Vukovic ahead of Codd, ahead of Van der Herk and Downey, Dempsey and Edgar. Then it's going to be Gwilym, Rocks, Cridland, Henriquez, Gould and Hagland. Following that is Lane, Westman, Bradbury, Trotter, Gribrat, Malone, Ayala, Nagel, Swain, Fox, Lloyd, Jägel at the back of the field. It's green. We are away up towards turn 1. It is still wet out on track. Everyone on wet tyres, including Jared Swain, who tried dry tyres in the heat. It did not work. He is onto wet tyres here in feature race 1. Downey trying to fight with Van der Herk out at the front of the field as there's a little bit of contact behind. Drivers going side by side, getting a little bit of contact in, but they have all straightened themselves out. I don't believe that anyone went around of Codd and Van der Herk. It is Codd up the inside, Van der Herk on the outside, Van der Herk on the grass, as was Edgar behind. That gives Codd second. It gives Riley Downey third overall. We're going to get our time in. Now there's contact between Codd and Downey. Downey moves into second overall. Codd down to third. Richard Edgar fell down, but has moved back past Matt Gwilym. And you said Matty Gwill. As this is a side-by-side moment now. Van der Herk and Codd. Van der Herk holds on to second in class ahead of Codd. Lewis Henriquez as they head up towards the final turn. Lane's got the inside. He brakes later. Henriquez looking for the exit, but this could invite Jared Swain into the mix behind there. Swain has made it into the top 3 in class. Anders Hagland is last of all the drivers still on the lead lap in this race. Not sure if Neil Trotter is in the race or out at this stage. Up towards turn number 1 though. Henriquez pushing Lane up towards turn 1. Swain getting pushed by Bradbury. Bradbury now looks up the inside of Swain. Swain looks up the inside of Henriquez. It looks like he could try to make that position. Henriquez on the slightly wider line. It's not going to play out. And Lewis Henriquez holds on to 11th overall. Jared Swain has 4 D1 drivers between himself and Richard Edgar, the man in second in class. I've lost him. There he is. He's gone off at the Parabolica. Matt Gwilym has gone around at the Parabolica, was fighting for the top positions here today. It looks like he's lost it though. Is he still going to dive for on the late brakes? Yes, he is. But it is going to be slightly on the water. He aquaplanes slightly wide into Conrad Bradbury. It's 2x2 in the rain. We're here in Noah's Ark. Up towards the timing line. Swain and Bradbury side by side. Matt Malone and Cedric Gibrat side by side through the Parabolica. Up towards turn number 1. Who's going to come out on this on top? Is it going to be 3 wide? Matt Malone pushing Conrad Bradbury. Here comes Gibrat to make it 3 wide with Malone and with Swain behind. And Malone goes off the circuit into the grass with that. There was almost no way that 3 wide into turn 1 in the wet was going to work. Ahead of Van der Herk. Up towards turn number 1. Van der Herk holds the outside line though, but he is extremely wide. He's onto the grass. Van der Herk gives up that position. 4 is for 12th and 11th. It is Jared Swain and Cedric Gibrat. Swain up the inside. They remain side by side. Gibrat's going to have the inside line now, but it will swip around once again to Swain, and Swain takes 11th overall ahead of Cedric Gibrat once more. And it is going to be Swain, Gibrat, and then Nagel. Swain is going to want to keep Gibrat there because Swain is second in class right now. He doesn't want to lose it down to third in class because Riley Downey unless he makes a major mistake, is going to win D2 once again here. Up to the final corner. And it is Jabrat on the outside. And once again, Swaim just goes slightly wide in the wet. There's nothing you can do. Contact with Jabrat. Jabrat has slid the car. He's lost the position now to Jürgen Nagel. So Swaim's defense of having Jabrat between himself and Nagel, it's disappeared now because he's just allowed Nagel to get through. And Nagel is going to go for the outside line on Jared Swaim here. Up towards turn number 1. Conrad Bradbury is not happy with Swaim's mistake, obviously, because he's dived straight back up the inside of Jürgen Nagel. There were some issues ahead. That was Neil Rocks and Luis Enriquez we saw off the circuit. And here comes Jared Swaim. Contact with Luis Enriquez. And Cedric Gebrat is looking to take full advantage of that. But he's stuck behind Enriquez now. Up towards the Parabolica. It is Henriquez leading Gebrat on the inside line. Jared Swaim there on the outside. What is the 724 going to do? He's tried to turn in, and he's pushed off the circuit. All 3 of them off the circuit, and through goes Jürgen Nagel. 3 positions in 1 turn for the man who now takes 2nd position in class. And come across the block, but is he going to? No, Matt Malone goes for it. Cedric Gebrat also goes for it. Up ahead, can't do it on Luis Enriquez. Matt Malone side by side with Jared Swaim. He gets the position. It's overall only. It's not for class position, but it has put now 3 D1 drivers between Swaim and P2 in class. Earlier in the race, of course, or earlier in one of the races. Enriquez, though, looks like he's gone extremely deep. He's hit the wall. Heavy at turn 1. Luis Enriquez. Purple. It is certainly drying up out there as Van der Herk around the outside of Dempsey. Is it going to be enough though? No, it's too deep. Dempsey's got that position taken care of. But Milan Vukovic wins feature race 1 once again. This time here at Monza, it was Milan Vukovic who won ahead of Mark Codd, over 4 seconds between them. Riley Downey won Division Race 2 in 3rd. Richard Dempsey took 4th ahead of Philip van der Herk, and it was Matty Quidland in 6th and 6th overall. Ian Lane then came in 7th ahead of Conrad Bradbury. It was then Neil Rocks and Matt Malone just behind. Jürgen Nagel took 2nd in class in 11th overall, followed by Cedric Gebrat. Jared Swaim took that final podium position in class. It was Risto Westman behind him 14th overall, followed by Joshua Lloyd. Matt Gwilym took 16th after the early spin at Parabolica. Zach Gould took 17th ahead of Harry Fox. Edward Ayala took 19th and Eric Jägel in 20th. At the back of the field was Hagland and Edgar, and then Trotter and Henriquez, both a lap down at the end of that one. Matt Gwilym, who is going to be the pole sitter in our reverse grid ahead of Joshua Lloyd. Following that is Westman, Swaim, Gebrat and Nagel. We've then got Malone, Rocks, Bradbury, Lane, Quidland and Van der Herk. Then it will be Dempsey, Downey, Codd, Vukovic. So the top 16 reversed. Then it will be on normal order: Gould, Fox, Ayala, Jägel, Hagland, Edgar, Trotter, Henriquez at the back. So the top 16 reversed for this one. It's green here at Monza for the final time. Feature race 2. It's raining. Everyone on wet tyres as we head into turn 1. It was Matt Gwilym who got the pole position with the reverse grid. Joshua Lloyd started in 2nd. He's moved into the lead. Gwilym falling to 2nd overall now. So it is the D2 driver out front. The rain has already stopped, but it started again. As many points on offer in this final race as it's 3 wide into turn 1. And sideways was Cedric Gebrat. He loses that position. And Jürgen Nagel moves into 5th overall, just behind Jared Swaim. Joshua Lloyd continues to lead this intermittent rain-filled race. Matt Malone side by side with Jürgen Nagel. Matt Malone is going to want to dispatch Nagel so he can try and get Jabrat and a podium in the D1 field. Malone looks to the inside of Jabrat, but he has to defend. Van der Herk's on the outside. Jabrat and Van der Herk onto the grass. A lot of time lost. More contact behind. Ian Lane getting involved in that one for about the 15th time in the last 3 laps. Slight contact there. Mark Codd and Ian Lane. Lane on the outside of the Parabolica as the rain returns. And around is the 189 to the inside. Everyone avoids him. That was Jürgen Nagel. Jared Swaim is 3rd overall. No, he's 1st overall because Joshua Lloyd is off at turn 1. And around go a number of cars at turn 1. More cars side by side. More contact. As that's Jabrat involved again. Is it going to be 3 wide? It is going to be 3 wide. Jabrat backs out, but he goes back for it. He's looking for the inside. It's 3 wide into turn 1. Jabrat runs deep. And he's into the wall and he's around. Cedric Jabrat is around and out of contention. Contact between Anders Hagland and Luis Henriquez. But it is a fight for 3rd. Matt Malone on the inside. It turns to the inside of Matt Gwilym. The 2 Matts side by side. And Malone takes it. There's contact behind. 2 cars around. The 24 and the 23. That's Risto Restman and Conrad Bradbury. Of course, not as many points on offer, but that does not mean that Downey wants to lose any points out to Swaim. He's on the outside of Neil Rocks. He's got the overlap. He's being pushed by Van der Herk. He turns in. It's a lot of speed, but he keeps it perfectly on line. Fox gets up the inside. Rocks gets up the inside of Van der Herk. Fox behind. Vukovic going for the move up ahead on Matt Gwilym. Not able to complete it. There's contact! There's contact. Sideways. Sideways for Van der Herk. Through goes Fox. Past Rocks. There's contact between the teammates. Seconds up the road. And there are back markers coming into play. Vukovic up the inside of Matt Malone. There's contact. Matt Malone holds it. He's going to keep the inside line. How is it going to play out into turn 3? Turns back into Vukovic's line. Malone's going for the switchback. Can he do it on the exit? He's going to have the inside up towards the Parabolica. They remain side by side, and Vukovic onto the water, onto the grass. Gives up the position to Matt Malone and to Matt Gwilym. Gwilym looks to the inside, trying to go defensive on Vukovic. Vukovic says, I can go even further to the inside than that, and he does. It could turn up to the inside of Matt Malone, not quite enough speed. But Vukovic back into 3rd overall and 2nd in class. Between this leading D1 fight and the overall leader of Swaim. Vukovic up the inside of Malone. Downey's obviously wanting to get involved because he wants the overall race win ahead of Jared Swaim, but he gets 2 drivers. He gets past Fox and Gwilym into turn 1. Riley gets into 3rd. Milan Vukovic up to turn 1. It's rare we see this man make a mistake, but Milan Vukovic into turn 1, breaks late and has to back out of that. Turns to the left to avoid hitting walls, and he's had to get it into reverse. Championship rivals in the D2 field, and there's Swaim off! Swaim wide at turn 1! Riley Downey moves into the lead! Riley Downey leads here at Monza. And I'm following somebody when I am out on by myself, and that was Harry Fox. I believe, yes, it was. Up the inside. There's side by side. Coming up to 4 laps to go. Jared Swaim is looking to take back the lead. They're giving each other absolutely no room. Who is going to be braver on the brakes and make turn 1? It is Swaim. But a switch over for Dempsey. He's got a great exit, but the corner turns to the left. It's not going to go his way. He is right behind Swaim though, and tried to take not only his first class victory of the season, but his first overall victory. Downey goes deep, too fast, into the parabolica. He's off the circuit. He recovers, but he's behind Malone and Gwilym. But he is solidified on that outside line. He brakes earlier though. He is holding that line. Matt Malone's holding the line. He's going to get the inside of Jared Swaim. There's contact. Only the smallest amounts. Jared Swaim holds on. We come up towards the parabolica. Swaim goes a lot later. Malone goes a lot earlier on the brakes. He's tried the switchback. A little bit of a nudge from Gwilym. Probably wasn't expecting Malone to brake as early as he did. There's a bit of a gap now between himself and Swaim. We're on to the final lap of this race. Jared Swaim leads the D2 field. He leads overall. Matt Malone leads the D1 field. Can he lead overall at the end of this one? It will be his first class win of the season. Can he make it a first overall win? Someone went off deep at turn number 1. Not sure who that was. I think it was Philip van der Herk. No, he's fine. He was just going a little bit slowly a little bit ago. That's all. It got caught on my live timing. But someone certainly did go deep at turn 1. We're up to the parabolican for the final time. Malone's having to go defensive. Swaim is going to hold the lead if he doesn't throw it off at the final turn. Here at Monza. There's a battle for third. Jared Swaim is going to win feature race 2 here at Monza for round 8. Matt Malone is going to take first in class for the first time this season ahead of Matt Gwilym. Riley Downey takes second in class. After a reversed grid start, Jared Swaim still had to make his way through the order, and he did so, taking the lead. Matt Malone could have just taken that overall lead, but still a victory in class for him is the first time this season. Matt Gwilym takes third overall and second in class, and Riley Downey, he was momentarily in the lead, but he finishes second in class. Philip van der Herk takes the final podium position in the D1 field. Following behind was Neil Rocks, Ian Lane, Matty Quidland, Mark Codd and Luis Henriquez, rounding out the overall top 10. Richard Edgar took the final podium position in the D2 field. And behind him was Harry Fox and Milan Vukovic, who had to recover from that mistake where he went straight on at turn number 1. Then following him was Anders Hagland, Jürgen Nagel, Zach Gould, Lloyd, Ayala, Westman and Dempsey rounded out the top 20. Dempsey falling a lap down alongside Neil Trotter. Eric Yeagle, Conrad Bradbury and Cedric Gibrat all went out of the race early on.